will come to your mind? Exactly. I'm not going to good and bad. Don't enter into the argument of good and bad. But this industrialist is the person who can generate employment for you. He is the smartest person of your society. And he should be given full environment, full freedom to excel in his field. And this is what has started happening in India. If Indian equities can give you wonderful returns when your policies were Garibi Hatao, what kind of returns equities can generate if your policies will be Samriddhi Lao, friends? This is the simple message I want to give to you. They will always say that. This will always say that. That's why the word is opposition there. Na? Now look at this. You are in a country which is the fastest growing country in the world, number one. Number two, here is the country which wants to make an environment where you can earn profits. If Indians can do wonderful things in the foreign, they can do the same thing in India as well. You need perfect environment. And our environment is getting clearer day by day, friends. So this is the country which is going to progress, and progress at the fastest rate of growth in the world. It depends on you how much you can participate in this wealth creation process of India. Do well, do invest in equities. Thank you very much, Jai Hind. Thank you.
We always get amazed whenever we listen during our meet also. So whenever HDFC invites us, Mr. Krishan Sharma is coming to Pune, let me tell you, first thing I do in my calendar is I block my calendar. I don't keep any appointment. His presentation is always for not more than 1.5 hours, but I'll make sure that whenever during that date he is available, I should be there. So first of all, we'd like to thank all of you for your patience hearing. Questions you want to ask?
It was a wonderful speech altogether.
Thank you.
I just wanted to know, how is GDP calculated? Because if it's such a complex issue, how can someone make a projection of a GDP 7.5, 7.3? How is it calculated as such, and whom do we believe actually? Because a government also may be biased in calculating, maybe, and as I understand, there has been some change in the way how GDP is calculated. Has that made any difference in the?
What the changes happen is nothing. It's not much important. See, earlier the previous government was calculating GDP at factor cost. What is factor cost? Minus taxes. Minus taxes. And this government is calculating GDP at market price. Market price. Say this mic cost 80 rupees. So my GDP is 80 rupees. But if I sell this to you at 80 rupees and government charges 20 rupees taxes, at what price you will buy? At 100 rupees. This is called market price. So this is the changes happen. So suddenly you will see that previous government told that market GDP growth rate is 5.1%, and this government is saying that GDP growth rate is 7.1%. So that declaration has been made, number one. Number two, how do they calculate GDPs? I told you one of the equation, that GDP is equal to income earned by you in form of wages, rent, interest and profits. We call it income method. Then there is expenditure method. What amount you have spent. So what they will do, they will add all the spending done by you. So spending done by you which can be taken into cognizance, that is white income. Cash, if you spend, it is very difficult for them to calculate. So this is not there. The black economy is not there, right? That the money spent by you. Then they will add the money spent by government. Then they will add the money spent by industries and businessmen. That is called investment. Then they will add the money spent by foreigners. That is export. And then they will add the money spent by us as importers. So what is the second equation? Called expenditure method. GDP is equal to consumption plus government expenditure plus investment plus exports minus imports. What's the third method? Third method is the production method. Production method is they will add all the goods and services produced by manufacturers. They will add all the services produced by service sector. And they will add all the grains produced by agricultural sector. So agriculture, manufacture, industry and services. That is called production method. They will do this independently, and they will come to the, there will be always some difference between the three approaches, but then they will do some statistical tools. There is this kind of error, this percentage of error will be there, and then they arrive at one growth rate. So this is how they do it. We have a CSO department who does this. But let me tell you a very important thing. Your doubt is very clear. I'll tell you a simple thing. Government of India has declared that Indian household has a gold of 18,000 tons. Have you ever read this? According to Government of India, Indian household holds 18,000 ton of gold. My father never in his life came to know how much gold my mother has. But Government of India knows how much money we have, how much gold we have. So always take these figures with a pinch of salt. But whenever you make policies, you always make policies at a declared figure. You can always doubt that figure. But even if you doubt that figure, what's an option to you? You have to take that. This is what everybody is doing in the world.
I hope you like the. Acha, you want to ask?
Once now, I took my mother for the root canal surgery for her teeth. Now, doctor asked her कि मैं आपको इंजेक्शन लगाऊं कि नहीं लगाऊं, आप कितना दर्द सहन कर सकते हैं. अब इसका जवाब मैं तो नहीं दे सकता ना, कौन देगा? मेरा मदर देगी. How much pain she can sustain, only she can reply. So how much money you can invest in equities, only you have to decide. No one in this world is going to help you out. Let me tell you one thing, a simple thing. Let me give you my example. How you do asset allocation. As I told you, you have to write in a column what kind of money you are going to need in next 1 year, in next 3 years, in next 5 years. I have done that exercise. What kind of expenses I can face in next 1 year? I have that money in liquid funds. Right? I've done the exercise. What kind of money I'll need in next 3 and 5 years? There was no answer. So either I'll need money next 1 year or I'll need money after 8-10 years. You know, 95% of my assets are in equities. But I cannot suggest you that you also do this. This is what my calculation is. So your money equities can be from 5% to 95%. It can be anything. Depends how you have done this exercise. You sit with Shyam, tell him what your lifestyle is, what your income is, what your saving is. Perhaps he will be able to advise you how much of money should go to equities. Then you have to see how many years you are in which stage of life. You are in stage of life where you have to spend your wealth or you have to create wealth. If you're in a stage of life where you have to spend your wealth, of course you can keep only 25-30% in equities because you have to spend the wealth. Because before departing from this world, you have to use that money. Right? This is the most unfortunate thing. This has happened to my grandfather, this has happened to my father. Whatever they were earned, only 5 or 10% of them, they have used it. Right? George Bernard Shaw, you must have heard about him. He's a great English author. When he was dying now, the last moments on his bed, he asked the attendant, how much money is there in my bank? He told 6,000 pounds. That much I worked more in life. Right? He's a very funny man. Na? He never shaved. Na? Why you don't shave? Just shaving takes 50 minutes of time. My age is 80 years. These many hours I have saved in my life. Like that he used to talk. Right? So how much money you will put in equities? Only you can find it out, this question. Let me tell you, if you are able to meet your expenses, number one, if you have insured yourself against medical expenses, if you have done insurance, let me tell you, I have stopped doing insurance. Why? Because what is insurance? Insurance is when something happens to you, the money will take care of your family. But now I accumulated that much money that I don't want insurance. So why you should pay for insurance? Insurance is expenditure, is not investment. Understand this. Now 99.99% investors in India believe that insurance is also investment. Insurance is expenditure, it's expense, it's not investment. So there's small things you need to understand. See, even poison is also sold. We don't buy it, no. The person who is selling will always sell. That's why you need advisor. As simple as that. So good and bad. See, mistakes are always done by, even doctors also make mistakes, isn't it? But again, we have to go to doctor only, na? That's a simple thing. Accidents happen on the road. Even then we go on the road. But in finance, what we do, we'll stop it. Oh, he has done this, I'll never go again to the advisor. No, that doesn't work. So that you have to, depends on lifestyle. If I want my advice will be to you, India in such a stage today, friend, invest as much as possible in equities. As much as possible in equities. That's my answer.
But sir, I can certainly beat you on the asset allocation. My 97% money in equity. So
you are younger than me, Baba. You are younger than me.
I hope you like this game of gambling. So on a lighter note, just would like to.
See, this is always the part of assets that what portion of my assets should go to equities. You can always decide that. Should it be 15% or 50%? That's fair. But what money has gone to equities should always remain in equities. What is equity? Equity is the ownership of business. What equity represents? Equity represents the ownership of business. If any one of you here account student, you must have read the first chapter in accounts is, commerce is, what is business? Business is a going concern, perpetuity. So if business is perpetuity, the ownership is also perpetuity. So what is the ideal time to remain in equities? I'll say forever. You should always remain in equities. You can always decide that what part of your savings should go to equities. Number 3, you're not locking funds in equities. See, you need to find out when you're going to use your money. Let me tell you a very simple thing. The money which you're going to use will not create wealth. The money which you are not going to use will create wealth. Are you getting my point? So you have to always ascertain from your monthly income that what kind of money, what part of this money you are not going to use. You have to divide your savings into 2 parts. One part of savings which you are going to use. Oh, I have to build house. Right? I have to send my son to abroad for studies. This is the money you are going to use. And there is a part of money which you are not going to use. This is for creating wealth. Because if you will not create wealth, you will not have dreams even. You want to have a holidays in Bahamas. This dream will never come to you if you don't have wealth. So if you will accumulate, if you will create wealth, then only the dreams which you cannot dream today will come to you. As simple as that. So money which you are not going to use will only create wealth. And that money should be in equities. The money which you are going to use in equities should not be in. Yes, if you are going to use after 10 years, it should be in equities. But there is a problem here. If I say it is for 10 years, you know what happens? Today it is 10 years. Next year what will happen? It will be 9 years. Third year what will happen? So what does it mean? When you will come from Mumbai to Pune, at what speed you will drive at highway? 120? Then you will enter Pune. What will be the speed? 60? Then you come to the congested area. What will be the speed? 20? And you will reach your colony. What will be the speed? 10? And when you will reach your home, what is the speed? 0. So similarly, if I ask you to invest for 10 years, it's not point to point. It's moving 10 years. Please listen it very carefully. When I say 10 years, it is moving 10 years. It's not point to point. So if you invested money in equities for 10 years and there is no movement in that money, what you need to do from 5th and 4th year, start withdrawing a part of it. And by 3rd year, when the 3 years remaining, there should be a 0 amount in equities because anything can happen in markets. Are you getting my point? I'm clear to you? That's very important thing you need to know down.
Any more questions? Okay.
Vanguard. Can you please tell me the difference between the Indian mutual fund and the Vanguard? Any idea? What? No. Asset size is secondary. Asset size is secondary. What is the difference between the Indian mutual fund and Vanguard? The difference is Indian mutual funds are active managers and Vanguard is a passive manager. What does it mean? Vanguard is not required to hire professionals. They will just invest the way index is. Even you can do this. If you buy ETF, if you buy Nifty ETF, you don't need any fund manager, na? You don't need any fund manager. But in Nifty there are 50 shares. In Nifty there are 50 shares. Now there is a person who claims that I am an expert. I can tell you in advance, out of 50, 15 are useless. 25 are okay, and 10 are something which can be multi-baggers, which can earn higher for you. So now you have two options. Either you go for the passive management or you go for the active management. What's the difference? Vanguard will give you return which is generated by American markets, and HDFC will give you return which will be double of Indian markets. Shall I give you the picture of it? HDFC equity fund. HDFC equity fund started 20 years ago. You know how much return Sensex has given in 20 years? Any idea? 7 times. How much? 7 times. And how much HDFC equity fund had made your money? How much? 50 times. Assume that we have run HDFC equity fund the way Vanguard is running, and you are paid only 1%. So how much your money would have been today? 70,000. Here I agree you are paid 2%, but how much your money is? 5 lakhs. This is what the difference is. Now the second question is, why they have that system and why we have this system? The second question is, why they follow passive management and why we follow active management? Very simple. Assume that in this hall, I will not take this example on us. Assume that there is a room. In that room there are 50 blind people. And there is a one-eyed person. You release a cobra in that room. Who is the luckiest person who will be award himself from the snake bite? The one-eyed person. That's why we say Andhau mein Kana Raja. So you can say that he will be able to avoid snake bite, right? Now everybody is blind there, and you release a snake there.